Let me just, where did they come through?
They came through an actual point of entry, in a legal point of entry. We had the actual.
So we now have Iranian missiles. Who knows how many inside the United States?
That is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. Like I said, I didn't even want to talk about it. It was one of those things where I was just amplifying what he was putting out already, because I was like, man, I don't know about putting this out. But it was something we found was pertinent, because at the time, Trump was still campaigning. He was flying around, and there was the reports were their intent was to take down Trump's airplane. So at the time, Secret Service switched things up a bit, and allegedly, from what I've told, they started flying him around on charters for a while until they could identify and kind of mitigate that threat. But that was the reporting stream that was coming out at the time. Feds handled it. Off my plate.
We've been warning about what's happening for damn near a year now. Sarah first came on, I believe it was October of 2023 was her first interview, and nobody took it seriously. Now we have the New Orleans attack. We have Iranian missiles. We have these invisible bombs. Do you know about the invisible bombs? So now these terrorist organizations have developed invisible bombs that will get through metal detectors, any kind of screening device that's out there, and they brag about this. And now we just did a Twitter Spaces with Sarah Adams, and they are now bragging that what we know about the invisible bomb, it's now even more advanced than it was before. So that means they can get this into stadiums, they can get this into airports, they can get this pretty much anywhere they want, because you cannot detect it.
That's scary.
Yeah. So about suicide, the invisible bomb vests downstairs. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that keep you up at night, right? When we're talking about the threats to the homeland. So we first talked about what they call the invisible bomb in the newsletter. And basically it was highlighted in December, just this last December, and it was Al-Qaeda's in the Arab Peninsula, so their branch in Yemen, right? And they basically were showing off. It's really interesting. So the big piece of the video is teaching terrorists how to make a bomb that goes through a magnetometer. So, like most airports in the world, you don't have that weird hand scan thing. You just go through a random metal detector. So this bomb basically goes through the metal detector, okay? So they were showing it off then. Well, now Al-Qaeda's advanced, and it's in a suicide vest. But the interesting part is it doesn't just go supposedly through the metal detector. They made it with components dogs aren't trained on to sniff. So if you say, okay, well, we'll up our security and put more dogs, Al-Qaeda's saying, well, we've defeated that too. And this is the type of vest they plan to use potentially in their homeland attack that's coming up. So it's very concerning.
We've been talking about this stuff for a year. We got it to Congress. Congressman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Burchett, sent a bill up. It's literally about we need to stop funding the Taliban, $40 to $87 million a week. The Taliban has set up multiple NGOs within Afghanistan, and basically what we're doing is sending loads of cash to NGOs that the Taliban had set up. We're funding our own demise, and nobody's fucking paying attention. Nobody's paying attention. We tried, since we're on funding the Taliban, let's start there. But, you broke that news first. You broke $40 million a week was going to the Taliban, funded from State Department to all these different NGOs. Then our mutual friend Legend came on. He broke that it was actually $40 to $87 million a week. Then, we're also, Scott Mann has confirmed it, former Green Beret Lieutenant Colonel, retired. Then, me and Scott went to Vienna to interview Masood, who is the, for everybody that hasn't seen that's the leader of the commander of the Afghan resistance. And he confirmed it as well. And so I'm going to link the petition below again, to spin that out again. And we sent that to McCall. Nothing. From what I understand, not one thing has been done. Why do you think Congressman McCall hasn't done it? It's because, I see these reports. He was drunk at the airport. Maybe he's just too drunk to actually do anything. Or maybe he's too busy. It's the other story I hear about him all the time is the insider trading shit. Has he done anything at all?
No, the problem is, it's kind of like they bring these people in front of Congress, they give them 5-minute sound clips, right? They make a little bit of news off it, but there's no then action, or there's no plan to do any accountability. And then they say, yeah, Americans, we did what you wanted. We brought Tyler Andrew Vargas on, right? But what has he done for him since it happened, right? And this is the big problem with Congress. People say these Congress people aren't doing their jobs, but they keep voting them back in, right? Like we complain about them, but no one's actually holding their feet to the fire to do their job. Voting them back in, right? Like we complain about them, but no one's actually holding their feet to the fire to do their job. I think effective against the Taliban, right? I mean, your congressman, Representative Burchett, he put the money in to stop the bill to stop the money going to the Taliban. It's sitting in the Senate. I don't think anyone's picked it up. Nancy Mace tried to do the bill to actually designate the Taliban a terrorist organization. I heard a number of Republican Congress people reach out to her and gave her a hard time about it. So that's completely dead. We can't even get our Congress people to call them a terrorist. We're going to be beheading people.
Why? What's behind that?
My theory is we have some people who haven't thought this through because of the Ukraine war, and they think we can especially use someone like Sirajuddin Haqqani as a counterweight to Russia. That there's no other explanation for the amount of money we're putting into this, because it's not just up to 87 million a week. That's only the money we fly into Kabul. Right? We send money other ways. One really great example is we fund the Taliban's political office in Qatar. That's not the 87 million. There's at least 10 million that we just pay their operating expenses a month. Completely separate. Yeah, we've been doing that since 2013. So this is not a new thing we've been funding the Taliban, right? We were funding them while they're killing our soldiers. For
the people out there, look, there's no stopping what's here. You cannot stop this.
Nope, you can't roll back.
Not with what we have already in here. We have sleeper cells. Yep. We're already getting reports that there may be a bit more involved in the Louisiana, New Orleans attack that they're not releasing. We also, I'll tell you this, there's a group of people flying around and basically briefing up different departments, governors about what's coming, how to deal with it in their communities. There are deputies in New Orleans who put in requests for training on how to take care of a threat like this, and those fucking requests were denied. They were denied. I think it was you that posted a video of an Al-Qaeda training camp, and it was almost like a display. It looked like a well done YouTube video of skills. Is that common?
Yeah, but that's a step down. So
that was really good.
That's Taliban. Those are the Taliban camps. So we can't get those kind of videos of the Al-Qaeda camps. As you can imagine, you can't even bring phones into the Al-Qaeda camps. So Al-Qaeda is even a level above those.
I mean, I'm going to overlay that video for the audience to see just how sharp these guys are getting. I mean, that's really good. Well, when I saw that, it scared the shit out of me.
Remember, their life is they train all the time.
Yeah.
So if that's all you're doing all day long, I mean, you're going to get really competent at it. And then they have different emotions behind it too. And, different beliefs and the religion behind it too, which makes you more devout.
And so what I basically want to say is it's going to be a bloody 2025. I think that's very obvious. And so for those of you that are looking for something to do and if finally come to the realization that our government is failing us, here's what you need to do. You need to get with your local communities. You need to, especially schools. Schools are very vulnerable no matter how many active shooters we have in the schools. The infrastructure that's been put in, which is minimal to none, a lot of schools still have none. You better start holding your schools accountable, and you better start raising hell and having them upgrade security no matter what the cost, because no matter what the cost is, it's not going to amount to the loss of life that we will potentially see throughout the United States. And start calling your congressmen. Get these guys to do something. Yeah. Start calling your senators. Get these guys to do something. They have been warned for over a year that this is coming, and nobody wants to take it seriously. Nobody wants to take it seriously. We contacted the House Foreign Affairs Committee. They did like a Zoom call. Yeah, that's it. Just for a little media. Our government is failing us. And so it's in our hands now. It's your kids. It's your wife. It's your husband. It's your parents. They're going to pay the price for what we have installed in this country. And it's now up to us because they aren't going to do it.